Let me tell you the story of how a bunch of fake HOA cops tried to evict me from my own home and ended up in handcuffs instead. So picture this. It's a quiet Sunday morning in Maple Ridge, a sleepy little neighborhood where the loudest sound is usually someone's lawn sprinkler or maybe an over-enthusiastic golden retriever. I was sitting on my porch, sipping coffee, reading the Sunday paper, when suddenly, bam, bam, bam. 3 guys in tactical vests were pounding on my front door like I was a fugitive on the run, badges flashing, faces stone cold. One of them barked, "Mr. Walker, you are hereby ordered to vacate this property immediately." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "This is an emergency eviction authorized by the Maple Ridge Homeowners Association. Now, if you're thinking, wait, HOAs can't do that, you'd be right. But these guys weren't real cops. They were private muscle in fake uniforms sent by a corrupt HOA that had morphed into something that felt more like a crime syndicate than a neighborhood board. But let's rewind, because this mess didn't start with jackbooted wannabe SWAT guys showing up on my porch. It started 6 months earlier, right after I retired. After 35 years managing construction crews, I bought my dream home, a modest but beautiful ranch-style house at the end of the cul-de-sac. Paid cash, no mortgage, just peace, and a whole lot of plans for barbecues, fishing trips, and absolutely no drama. The first few months were great. Maple Ridge had been quiet, neighborly, full of families, retirees, and folks who mostly kept to themselves but waved when they passed. Then came the election. Out of nowhere, a new HOA board got voted in. Barely any turnout, no one seemed to know it was happening. But suddenly, we had new leadership. And not just any leadership. Enter Colin Delacroix, a former luxury developer from the city with a big house, a bigger ego, and a vision. He wasn't alone. Alongside him were his partners in crime, Linda Mays, a cutthroat real estate broker who saw Maple Ridge as her personal ATM, and Brent Kalinsky, an ex-accountant with a clipboard addiction and the warmth of a brick wall. They ran on a platform of modernization and value optimization. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. Their first meeting lasted over 3 hours. They rolled out a flashy slideshow about elevating neighborhood status and protecting community assets. In plain English, rules. Tons of them. New aesthetic standards, mandatory service providers, stricter enforcement. I didn't think much of it until the violations started. I woke up one morning to find a $900 fine taped to my door. Apparently, my Ford truck, a 2021 American-made beauty, was considered an industrial vehicle under the new guidelines. Parking it in my driveway? Forbidden. I called the HOA office, expecting a rational conversation. Instead, I got Linda. "Work trucks lower the neighborhood's visual appeal," she said, sounding like she'd just sniffed a lemon. "We're trying to attract a higher quality buyer demographic." I almost dropped the phone. "This is a middle-class neighborhood," I said. "You're talking like we're Beverly Hills." "Well, Mr. Walker," she snapped, "that's the goal." Things escalated fast. Next came a $500 fine for having unauthorized garden modifications because I planted tomatoes in my backyard. Then $600 for mailbox non-compliance. I checked the original HOA agreement, I signed before buying. None of these rules existed back then. Turns out, they rewrote the entire HOA charter quietly and applied the new rules retroactively. Total scam. But it wasn't just me. My neighbor, Evelyn, a 70-something widow who always left baked goods on everyone's doorstep, got fined for excessive holiday decor, even though her Christmas lights were down by mid-January. The Brooks family down the street got hit for their kid's basketball hoop. People started whispering about losing their homes. Then came the kicker. The new HOA required every homeowner to cancel their existing lawn, security, and maintenance services and sign up with HOA-approved providers. You couldn't mow your own lawn anymore unless it was through Greenrise Solutions, who charged 3 times the normal rate. And here's the twist. I did a little digging. All these companies, Greenrise Solutions, Ridgeguard Security, Lux Landscapes, they were owned by the HOA board members under different shell companies. They weren't just enforcing the rules, they were profiting from them. I couldn't believe it. They were weaponizing the HOA to force people into paying them directly for overpriced services we didn't even need. And anyone who refused? Threats, fines, lien notices, foreclosure warnings. Some folks caved, others panicked. But me, I got angry. I called my old buddy, Ray Douglas. We went way back. He'd gone into law enforcement, retired recently, and now ran a private investigation firm. I told him everything. He listened, then said, "Jack, this isn't an HOA problem. This is racketeering." And that's when I decided to fight back. Ray helped me install high-end security systems, audio, video, cloud backups, even hidden recorders disguised as garden gnomes. Yeah, you heard that right. I started documenting every violation, every interaction, every bogus notice. We formed a small resistance group, me, Evelyn, the Brooks, and a guy named Dale, who used to work in county records. We dug deep, found out that Colin had pulled similar stunts in 2 other counties under different HOA names. Each time, he bailed just before lawsuits were filed. Linda's real estate company benefited from the foreclosures. Brent? He was moving money through the HOA account, like it was his personal piggy bank. But we needed a smoking gun, and they handed it to us on a silver platter. That Sunday morning, when the fake HOA officers showed up with eviction papers, I played it cool. The document had official stamps, legal-sounding language, and even a judge's signature. Except the name was misspelled, and the court was allegedly open on a Sunday. "Cute," I asked. "Are you actual police?" The guy in charge, big guy, buzz cut, tattoo creeping out of his sleeve, said, "No, but our HOA authority supersedes county law." Right then, my doorbell camera caught everything. I asked for an hour to pack and make arrangements for my dog. They agreed, laughing and slapping each other on the back like this was a done deal. Except, while they smoked outside, my gnome recorders were capturing gold. One said, "After we get him out, Harrington says we can keep whatever looks valuable." Another replied, "Dibs on the flat screen." Yeah, criminal intent on tape. Meanwhile, I sent Ray the code phrase we'd prepared. Sunday breakfast cancelled. Guests arrived early. 20 minutes later, 4 unmarked vehicles circled the block. The fake cops were getting antsy, grabbing bins and moving equipment. Just as they stepped toward my door again, I walked out with a fresh cup of coffee, sat in my rocking chair, and smiled. "Gentlemen," I said, "I'd offer you some coffee, but I think your schedule's about to get complicated." They didn't get it until sirens cut through the air and real officers swarmed in, guns drawn. "Hands where we can see them." Fake badges hit the pavement. Handcuffs clicked. Neighbors emerged, clapping, filming, cheering. Turns out, two of the officers were carrying real firearms without permits. And the forged eviction order? Pure felony material. The cops also found direct messages from Colin to the team. "Make it look official. Just don't leave bruises." Within days, the state attorney general raided Colin, Linda, and Brent's homes and seized records showing similar scams in 3 other HOAs. They'd funneled over $4 million from unsuspecting homeowners. All 3 were arrested and charged with racketeering, fraud, and criminal impersonation. Every single phony fine was dropped. Property liens were cancelled. The HOA was dissolved and replaced by a new board. People who actually lived here and cared about the community. And me? I still park my truck in the driveway every single day, right next to my now famous Justice Gnomes, which the local news dubbed the Gnome Patrol. So let me leave you with this. Corruption doesn't always wear a ski mask. Sometimes it wears a name tag and carries a clipboard. But no one, not even a power-hungry HOA, gets to stand above the law. If you've ever had a nightmare experience with your HOA or witnessed abuse of power in your neighborhood, I want to hear your story. Drop it in the comments below. Let's talk about what's fair, what's legal, and what needs to change. And remember, never underestimate the power of a garden gnome with a mic.